Hi everybody. Welcome to this Alliance Française. Welcome to this Alliance Française live event through Dublin Alliance Française. I'm illustrator Margaret Anne Suggs, and I wanted to thank Alliance Française for inviting me to hold a live event with you today. What's my connection to Alliance Française? I'm a member of Illustrators Ireland, and my friend and colleague Philip Elliott and I have partnered with Alliance Française for the last few years on their annual comics festival, which has been a brilliant event yearly, so come on out and see it. Sadly, it had to be rescheduled this year, but maybe in 2021. Like many of us that are connected with Alliance Française, I'm not Irish. You might have gotten the first hint from my accent. I was raised in the American Deep South, and I moved to Dublin years ago to do a master's degree at the National College of Art and Design. Relocating wasn't really easy, but I managed, and it has given my artwork, my illustration, a kind of a renewed color palette. And I've definitely embraced the fact that my work is quite feminine. I've now completed 2 master's degrees, yay! And I have settled in Ireland, so I'm here to stay, say my 2 children and husband. Anyway, in July, I got some great news. I was awarded an Arts Council of Ireland bursary for an illustration project entitled I Remember Being a Child. And that was what I wanted to share with you today. How did I Remember Being a Child come about? I was concerned at this time of social distancing with COVID-19 that it was going to leave a mark on our collective memories. It's affected everybody, and it will affect everybody in some way. And while I was isolating with my family, I started kind of reflecting on my childhood, partly because my childhood is so different to my children's. Firstly, I'm an immigrant, and that does affect you. I came to Ireland by choice, but I miss my home, I miss my family, I miss, some of the traditions. I do not miss the politics. I miss my family, I left them behind. Secondly, the difference, advances in technology have made childhood and in turn this isolation so much different and a lot more comfortable than it might have been 20 years ago. So I've been working on this series of illustrations to depict childhood memories. I'm reflecting on some of the universal experiences of childhood, like how many of you out there, didn't you think that new shoes could make you run faster? Didn't you think that cats were girls and dogs were boys? Think back to when you were really young, do you know? Aside from the universal experiences, I've explored some more kind of personal, small but poignant moments from childhood, such as reading on the front porch at dusk with my grandparents, or chasing lightning bugs in the summertime, which apparently is not something Irish children know to do. And I'd like to show you some of the work that I've completed so far. So I was going to read through the text that I've written to kind of accompany the pictures and just show you some of the finished illustrations. Just bear with me while I move the camera around a little bit. I'm sure we're all going to have to get used to this with virtual learning and Zoom meetings and all that. There's a good view of the studio. Now, this is high-tech, kids, so stay tuned. Can you see that? Yeah? I hope you can see that well enough. Okay, so that's the first illustration that I wanted to show you. I remember the pale green chiffon curtains and the tall grandfather clock from when I was little. You see that one, yeah? Cool. I remember thinking that cats were girls and dogs were boys. I remember being sent to my room if I was too cheeky. I remember Daddy showing me a card with the baby's footprints on it the day she was born, and sitting on his shoulders and thinking I was the tallest person in the world. I remember thinking that Mr. Hill was my dad, but he was Sarah's dad. I remember my cat Muffin. She was fat and fluffy, but very gentle. Now these were just to show you that I've done some on kind of a textured paper and some illustrations on a very plain type of paper. I remember Granddaddy greeting us with, "Give us a bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck," and then feeding the birds and picking the peaches. I remember Grandmother reading stories to us on the front porch at dusk, and watching Name That Tune and the Lawrence Welk Show on black and white TV, and having to stand in the corner when I didn't remember to share. I remember dressing up in my aunt's glamorous dresses and thinking that new shoes would make me run faster. I remember You Are My Sunshine and Rhinestone Cowboy and Mom's rumbling beige station wagon with the hidden back seat. I remember the American bicentennial and learning the president's names. I remember being too chatty and being sent to the principal's office twice in the first few weeks of school. And I remember spending summer vacation at my Uncle Walt's cabin while the azaleas were in bloom and eating watermelons cooled under the spigot at the back porch. I remember Daddy polishing our little shoes before church on Sunday and Mommy making our pretty Easter dresses every year. I remember sandboxes and swings and swimming pools and being sun-kissed. And I remember being a child, just like you. So that kind of shows you some of the artwork. And that's the part of the book that most people get to see. But I thought maybe I would show you some of the stuff that people don't get to see. Like what else goes into the planning. So I've got my book, my illustrations in this sketchbook here. And when you begin a project, you always begin with sketches. Well, I assume everybody begins with sketches. So I try to keep a sketchbook for each project just to keep myself organized. And I start with just little notes, notes and drawings. So I've singled out a few to show you there. That's drawing my grandmother. And you just start drawing what's going to go into the pictures. Then I get kind of tricky with the drawing boxes, and this is helping me lay out the pages and tell me where the picture is going to go and where the text is going to go. So once you get your kind of layout sorted, or you get some drawings that you like, you start developing the drawing into kind of a more finished picture. So this is what I call a rough draft. You redraw, you tighten up, you refine. And maybe you add things, like I added some books here. And then I go on and do a color study. For these illustrations, I've used mainly pencil. I feel like the black and white lends a nice nostalgic quality to the drawing, kind of like a memory. And then I've added bits of color just for highlighting, and I've used colored pencil for that. Let's see if I can show you. So, just regular pencil and then some colored pencils. So this is an example of the little color palette that I put together, and I try to use only those colors for the whole series of pictures. So once I get my color studies done, then I transfer the drawing onto whatever paper that I want to use. This time it was just kind of white, smooth bristles. And you can see I've just transferred the drawing lightly. Sometimes I use lovely rice paper and sometimes recycled paper with traces of plants in it. It gives it a really nice texture, like the portraits that I showed you there. But it makes for quite a delicate picture, so you have to be careful. In this instance, with these drawings, I usually put the color down first. So I was just going to do a little demonstration of a cat here. It won't take too much of your time, don't you worry. So I put down the color first. Hold on, let me get me drawing glasses, because sometimes I need to magnify what I'm up to. And I put the color down first. Can you even see the little drawing that I've traced there? You might not be able to, but sure, once I start coloring it, it'll come to life. So I'm just adding the color into kind of the ears and the nose. And then this is just a 4B pencil. Let's see. And then I trace out kind of what I want my little cat to look like. This is her head. I'm trying to see, can you see that at all? It's so tiny, isn't it? And this one, I think I'm going to make this one a stripy cat. These guys out of the way there. And she's going to be, see, cats are girls, that's why I'm calling her a she. She's going to be sneaking up on something. It's amazing to me how cats can like fold up so tiny and then stretch out so long when they decide that they want to. Okay, so there's kind of the outline of him. And then just giving him some stripes. Oh, sorry, giving her some stripes there. Can you hear the car alarm in the background? It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. It's always something. This morning I came in to be sure that everything was set up and the cat had thrown up on the desk, so you just never know. Right, so I've got kind of got the outline and the stripes, and then I just start kind of shading in where I want it to be more shaded. And again, this is just a 4B pencil. Oh, there got the pencils off the edge. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Of course, if I wasn't doing this live, I would take a lot more time with it, and I'd probably be listening to music as well, because it can be quite dull just drawing without any background music. So that's really it. I'm blending the grays in, and I'm keeping it mostly black and white. As I've completed these illustrations, I've been sharing them on social media. I'm using the hashtags I remember being a child, which is quite long, but you know, only those of us that are serious are going to bother with it. So I remember being a child and childhood memories. And I'd love to hear some of your memories if you're interested in sharing them. My social media is here if you're interested. I really encourage, sorry, I look at you when I say this. I really encourage parents to share your childhood memories, especially immigrant parents. Share your memories with your children. It's so invaluable. It's such a sense of connection to your children, and it's such a sense of community with the other people around you. You know, playing the Do You Remember game. It's a wonderful way to connect. So really, that's all from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks a million for joining me. That's great. Follow me at MAS Illustration on Twitter or Instagram, and then Margaret Anne Suggs on Facebook, or margaretannesuggs.com for updates on my blog, which I've been posting these illustrations regularly on the blog as well. But also, be sure to stay tuned to Alliance Française Dublin Live for their Facebook Live sessions. Oh, the alarm stopped. Good timing. Anyway, thanks a million for joining us, and enjoy your dreary Wednesday day. Bye now. Thanks.